Good evening. We are live. Good evening, mate.
Evening. How are you, mate? You all right?
Not too bad, thanks. Yourself?
Very good. Yeah, it's Friday, isn't it? Start of the weekend, start of a bit of reefing fun.
That's it, mate. I've
all
no
good.
idea where Paul is. He was meant to be here, but I don't quite. It's not like him to be late, mind you, is it?
I think it's so unprofessional being late, honestly. You would never, ever see me being late, would you, Ross, eh?
No, definitely not, mate. I don't quite know. I mean, I could put a poll up for that, but I think it would be a resounding yes, you're late, Jay. But I wouldn't have expected Paul to be late tonight.
What I liked, actually, is the poll tonight is different than it normally is. It is normally, is Jay going to be late? But I noticed it was a different one tonight.
I was going to go with that one tonight, and I thought, nah, too predictable. Far too predictable. So
keep it
mixed. We'll go with something. It's a shocker, I think, Jay.
I've turned over a new leaf, mate. I've turned over a new leaf. He's shocked. Good to see you anyway. Hope you're doing well. Hope the tank's going well.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. It's been a week of not issues, but just inconveniences, shall we say. Nothing drastic. More stuff on my own part, but it's getting there. We'll get there in the end. I've still got the cyano that I'm trying to get rid of, but try to do it naturally rather than adding anything to it. I'm kind of conscious that I've already added the Flux RX. I don't want to really add anything else to it just now.
Otherwise, you're going to end up with a cocktail of medicines in there, aren't you? Really, you got to be. You got to be careful. I sat my cyano out. It took me 10 weeks, Ross. 10 weeks to sit it out. So, and it felt like 10 months, to be honest.
I know.
Every time you go up and look at it, you just think, oh, I haven't paid to look at that. You know what I mean? It looks a bit grim, but.
The only thing I will say is that I haven't done any water tests this week, so I don't even know where my parameters are sitting. I was meant to do them today, and long story short, had a guy up servicing the boiler, ended up a part broken and all that carry on. So didn't get around to doing my water test today as I normally would, so I need to do them tomorrow and find out where it's at, because my nutrients were pretty low. So I'm hoping that I didn't do a water change last weekend. I think it was you that said that, Jay, actually, to miss out a water change. So didn't do that last weekend. I skipped that one. And I've still been slightly overfeeding the tank, so I'm hoping that nutrients will have came back up a little bit now.
Yeah, I felt because I was dosing the elements, foundation elements, calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity, and my nutrients were quite low, but I was dosing the key elements. Doing the bi-weekly water changes helped boost my nutrient levels up. So you should see a good result with that if you stick with. I've just realised my D&D fans are on. It's not even. I don't know what's going on here. 25.9 degrees in sunny Derby. Well, in the tank it is anyway.
That's slightly warm, mate.
Yeah, apologise if you can hear the fans. I don't know what's going on with them, but I can hear my fans at the moment.
No, I can't hear them at all, to be honest with you. So we should be all right. It's not hot up here today, but I'm assuming you've got decent weather down there, have you?
Yeah, it's been good, hasn't it? I think it's like 22, 23. So it's it's quite warm still in the Midlands. It's good.
It's like Reef.
I know, yeah. Paul is queuing for fuel. Yes. You know what? I don't know if I should admit to this, but after work I actually went and got some diesel tonight. You're all going to go, oh, you're the one that's causing the blooming panic.
Oh, man.
But I also did a careers talk today, trying to encourage all my 16-year-olds to be lorry drivers. So hopefully that goes down well. It didn't go down very well, but
I was joking about that the other day because I've actually got my lorry license, but I don't drive lorries for a living. And it was one of those things I thought, could have changed jobs, but I don't think so.
Well, people are worried that the Christmas, like the supermarket's not going to have everything that it normally has. But I couldn't really care less about it. As long as the corals are stocked, that's all we care about. The LFS is make sure the drivers are going to the LFS. That's all we bother about.
We've not had a Christmas for a while, have we? Oh,
not really.
Look at this. Look at
guys.
this.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Sorry's not cutting it, mate.
We didn't. Your name wasn't mud at all. Honestly, we were very respectful of your lateness.
Yeah, don't watch the live stream back, mate. I wouldn't watch it back. There's no point in watching that first bit.
I know how Jay feels now, but
well, yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Arriving late, it is horrible.
Yeah.
So did you get fuel, Paul?
Sorry.
Did you get fuel?
Did I get fuel? My wife got fuel yesterday, so actually it's very lucky. But yeah, and I got one car in a garage, so yeah, we're okay at the moment.
Oh,
But no,
good,
I'm not going to go and stockpile. I fundamentally disagree with that kind of stuff.
Me too.
Wow,
What about you, Jay? Do you agree with that?
What's that? What am I agreeing with?
Fundamentally disagree with stockpiling. Me and Paul's in that camp. I don't know about you though.
Yeah, well, I don't stockpile, to be honest. I wasn't on the toilet roll thing that was lockdown 1. I didn't really get that, to be honest. But I was just passing on my way home from work today, and I thought, you know what? I'll top the diesel up. I've got to go to Cracknell, right? If I didn't fill my car up, I won't be able to go to Cracknell next weekend. Won't make it.
Well, how do you think I feel? It's about 4.5 hours for me to get down there, so I don't even know how I'm going to do that if there's a fuel shortage. Which
Well,
there might
that's
be,
it.
Never mind.
Yeah, that Cracknell could be struggling for the Scottish and the South Coast reefers. They're going to struggle to get there and back if we're in it.
There's not going to be an issue, mate. We'll be fine.
I know.
I like that one. No, the kids are out tonight. They're up West End, so no, I didn't lose a game on that.
So not even any excuses, mate.
I haven't got an excuse.
What about the dogs? Have you given the dogs a bone just to keep them quiet tonight?
No, I took the dog out for a walk, but and I forgot the time. So it's as simple as that.
So we can guarantee to hear the dog then. Actually, it's like a sack of Yorkshire tea bags I've got. But that's because we had some builders in and they like drinking tea as well. So yeah, all stocked up with Yorkshire tea. I don't have to worry about that. Plenty for the video. Plenty for the videos.
Jay, what's going on behind your Yorkshire teacup? Is there a light in there?
Yeah, it's, I just like to make an aura around it because it's such a special drink. No, down the side here, it's.
I thought maybe it was the holy grail of tea you were drinking.
You know that reefing video that was kind of not really reefing. It was more to do with photography and like lighting. So I've got a little Amazon light bar down here, which is like £10.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's got 3 colours, different brightness, and then I've got the perspex, that white backing.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I remember you talking
And
about
if you put that behind it, you get like a warm glow, and it's all photography really. But when you
setting
spend
the mood for the fish.
Well, yeah, when you spend so much on your tanks like we all do, you want to get a good picture, and lighting plays a part, doesn't it? So yeah, that's what it is.
Mate. It's something I've never tried is the backlighting. I've seen a lot of folk doing it with like different coloured LEDs. I think the one I've seen recently was I know I've mentioned them a few times, but Zoa Tank Boys, the American guys, they seem to use the backlighting quite a bit. They've got a tank. I don't actually know what tank it is, if it's a water box or if it's the same as yours, Jay, but it's a little kind of cube tank, and they've got, I think it's just NEMS that's in it, and it's like called Fire Island or something, and they've got the red glow from the back end, and it looks quite cool actually. It's pretty nice.
Cool.
But
well, I got it from Coral Fish Zoa. Obviously, everybody knows him on Instagram, and if you don't, then check him out. But he's got like this most beautiful back, which is white, pretty much. And I just asked him how he did it, and he said he uses light behind, and then he uses perspex. But obviously, I've got my tank kind of a weird way. Like a lot of people say, why have you put your tank that way? Because it's not like sideways, rather than it should be facing this way, pretty much. Yeah. But it's helped because it's like a peninsula then, so I can put the white on that side and you can see it.
Yeah.
So actually it works out quite well. But
so that guy you was talking about, he did a weird post the other day. I don't know if he's going to reset his tank. I've seen another post this week. I know he's lost a couple of acros, or they've whitened out. So I think he said his nitrate or his phosphate had bottomed out.
Was that Zoa Tank Boys post, was it?
Coral Fish Zoa.
Yeah, that's the one.
Coral Fish Zoa.
Yeah, because he was the one who done the floating reefscape.
Yes,
kind of gave me the idea to do mine, but he spent a lot more money on it. He had scollies and all kind of things on there, which I'm not going to do. But yeah, there was a couple of posts that one he had a few problems, and before that, it looked like he might reset his tank, but I don't know. He had that set up for a little while, and he tends to set them up for a little while, and then try a completely different scape that no one's done, and creates. I suppose it looks like a piece of art, really, doesn't it? The way he does it, I think, anyway.
Yeah,
they're just spot on.
Yeah, he's got an amazing tank. I'm quite envious. He also uses the Lightroom app, which I've started to use. So Yeah, a couple of my Instagram photos are using Lightroom. And
is that the Adobe product? Is it Adobe Lightroom? Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have the paid version. I just have the free version.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty good if you want to take a nice picture.
Yeah.
I think I get it as part of my Adobe package because I use Adobe for like sort of my editing and so on. I think I get it in that, but I've never actually tried it.
Is it the Creative Cloud or Creative Adobe? That's a whole stack of different stuff.
Yeah.
In there.
I mean, it's an expensive suite, but if you get the student discount, which I do through somebody, then it means that you get it for it's about £16 a month, and that's everything.
My son used to get it when he was at uni for less than 20 quid for the full suite, which is a brilliant price. I don't know what the full price is.
So there's an interesting comment. Good morning, fellas. Just after 5 a.m. here in Australia.
Yes.
So I think that's the first Australian we've had on the stream. So welcome along, Stephen.
That is wonderful.
5 a.m.
He must be a milkman or something.
Dedicated that. Imagine being on a live stream at 5 a.m. I think I'd be in trouble.
Let me just show you. So this picture, people may have seen this picture. Yeah, that's a Lightroom picture.
Hang on,
it's just like it's just super colourful and yeah, well basically it doesn't look that real, but it looks cool.
So have you done that? Sorry, did you do that on the phone, Jay?
So Lightroom. Yeah, so I don't know if you can. So it's just an app. Yeah, LR. It's got a little logo, LR.
Oh, right. So you can do it on. Right. Okay.
I know, wrong one. The LR.
I think Lightroom and so on are quite good, to be fair, as long as you're editing them to more true life colours. When you take a photo, it looks nothing like true life. So if you're editing them to look what it looks like with your eyes, fine. There are some folk that overdo it. I've noticed that. You know for a fact of looking at them that that's way too saturated and so on.
You can usually tell by the background, can't you? Because any kind of frag rack that's white ends up bright orange or blue or something like that. So you can usually tell by the background how much saturation someone's put into the photo to show how real it was. I must admit, I used to think when I used to see signature frags pictures, I used to wonder how true to life they were. Because they look, whether they are saturated or not. But I mean, obviously you've been there, Jay, so you would have seen the pictures. And
I was a bit doubtful of some of his videos, like you say. But when you're there and they're under the blues, they're exactly the same. They're like diamond. I think Nanotank Reefer went to visit this week as well, I think.
Oh, right.
He's picked up a few corals there as well. But no, they're stunning. But you want to take the mother colonies away, but you're not allowed. So I want to just bag up all the mother colonies and bring them back. I've got no room for them, but I was
about to say you'd have no room. You'd have one colony in the middle, and that'd be about it, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, it's getting full already at the moment. Can probably fit about 3 or 4 more in, possibly corals. But yeah, obviously I'm going to Crackness, so maybe a bit of shopping there if I can.
Yeah. Would you put
making a purchase?
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I want to make a purchase, but I don't really know. I don't understand how it works because I'm a lockdown reefer, so I've never been to any reefing events. I haven't got any frags. Is it pointless going to a frag swap without frags? I don't know. I'll be like, I've got nothing to swap. So what happens there? Can you buy? Can you just buy?
You just chat to people, and I mean,
obviously, what if I want one of their corals?
What?
Then you could make them an offer.
Yeah, I think someone said last week that if you was to buy a coral for someone else, I don't know if it's free or whether you pay a fee or something like that to Dom. I think Dom Gal said it, but I don't know if he was tongue in cheek in it. So I don't know what the rules are about buying off of other people. Obviously, it's a frag swap that it's advertised as.
So Dom posted up on there's a Crackner Facebook frag swap meet post group thing, whatever it is, I don't know. And he posted up in there basically saying that if anybody wants to leave corals overnight that are coming from a far distance away, then he's going to set up a tank. But it's basically at your own risk that if you leave the coral there and something happened overnight, then it's not on him, basically. So while he will try his hardest to look after it, and if he sees any pests, that will dip them and so on, but ultimately it's on you. So I think the option will be there if you're travelling from further away to leave stuff overnight. Depends if folk want to do that or not.
Well, I'm going to go on the same day. So I can get whatever I buy, I'm going to put it straight in.
It all depends what you're buying as well. If you're buying an LPS or a Zoa or something like that, then you probably could keep it overnight. If it was a nice acro, I mean, you'd still probably be okay, but it's got more risk of it being unsettled, isn't it? Because it's got to travel, go in that tank, go out there, travel, and go to your tank as well. So you've got 3 different tanks. But most corals, I would say, are going to be all right. Would you? I was just going to say, Jay, would you put more corals on the sand bed? Because I know most of yours on the rock work.
Yeah, I want a scully, and I haven't got one. I want a scully. I haven't got one of those. There's a couple of SPS that I'd like still. And then somebody, who was it now? Someone sent me one yesterday and went, add this to your list. And I was like, oh my God, that is absolutely, it was one of the Scottish reefers. And yeah, add it to your list. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. But anyway.
There's a comment here from NB Reefing that says, his DD80 died today. Is there any way you can get parts as the pumping sensor is working, but where the plug connects to the unit is dead? So the option that springs to mind for me is to cut that section off and put 2 crimps in it and just crimp the cable together. So
I would go on to the Facebook page that DD has and ask them, because the guys who run it are on there. I'm just trying to find it. It's DD, the Aquarium Solution. If you go onto that Facebook page and join that group, I've seen, because I'm on there, you find most times you'll get a response from one of the guys who run it. So they'll be able to tell you if you can get a spare. Now, whether they send out the spares or whether you have to go to an LFS or not, but I'm assuming you want a replacement pretty quick, because you have to do manual top up at the moment, I'm assuming, unless you've got a spare one.
Yeah, there's a few folk in the comments said the same thing there. So Bravo 20 said just get in touch with them, sort you out. You can on Twitter, get in touch with DD. They'll usually get parts for you. I think it was actually DD that I spoke to when the bracket for my AI Prime broke. So there's a little kind of screw that you screw in, and it's got a disc on the end of it. That broke inside the kind of retainer for it as such. And I got in touch with, I think I tried to go to AI Prime, well, AI first, and they passed me off to DD. And they sent me a replacement out within a day, I think it was. So it was a pretty good service I got from them on that one.
Yeah, I contacted them about my D&D, the thermo controller, because I thought it was rusting. I think Paul might remember this.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was rusting, and it turned out to be coralline algae, so I looked a bit of a muppet, to be honest.
But the positive is, all you had to do was wipe it down.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at it. I started scratching outside the tank. I was like, oh, this is coming off. Yeah, it was coralline algae, so yeah. Rookie reefer.
I'm sure you're not the first. It won't be the last of mistakes.
They got straight back to me. Well, yeah, they got straight back to me and said, well, we've never had this before. Well, they still haven't had it, I don't think, because mine wasn't.
Probably because none of it is metal. It's all plastic. So you're thinking, how can you get rust or something like that on it? It's all plastic.
It did look like exposed metal, though, like the casing had come off. But anyway, that was a bit embarrassing. I haven't told that on YouTube, so it's all confessions here. I'm amongst friends. I can be honest on this bit.
No one will pass comment, I'm sure.
I'm just waiting. I'm just glad Blackpool Reef's not around at the moment, because he's.
Oh yeah, he's had a couple of comments. I just thought I would go easy on you at the start of the stream, mate. And
thank you. Thank you very much, Ross. Just for my mental well-being.
Well, no, I'm still going to put them up in a minute, but I just wanted to break you in gently. I'm not letting you off that easy.
In the first 20 minutes, off the hook.
Yeah, let me off. Yeah.
So Jay, with the Scully, I found when I've had Scullies, they do better on a piece of rock than they do on the sand. Only because it depends on the fish you've got. I find a lot of fish with rats, they'll just kick loads of sand onto it and just irritate it a little bit. So even if I've got that button Scully, I just got a small piece of rock that it sits on. I just find it seems to do better when it's not directly on the sand bed. I did have one that was on. It was quite a big Scully that was on the sand bed, and that was okay. But just the smaller ones, they just get covered in sand. I found the fish I've got.
That rings a bell with my Trachophilia, which is a similar type of coral, I think. In terms of when I was on the sand bed, it kept getting covered and disturbed, and now I've put it inside the cave. And even though it's not getting much light, it's a lot happier in there.
Yeah.
Because it's off the sand. But I haven't got another elevated spot off the sand. So that might mean I'm a bit delayed. Maybe I have to wait for that one then.
Or just put a small piece of rock or rubble, flat piece into the sand. So it just raised a little bit, and you can try that. So I find acans is the same as well. They get agitated by having acans on the sand, and they don't plump up as much as well.
Yeah.
So
see, they look really nice. I haven't got any of them.
There's one here regarding the ATO from just a couple of minutes ago saying check out the Reef Factory ATO. Might be a good time for an upgrade. Getting a text if your sump level is low or high is a potential tank saver. That's quite a good thing. I didn't actually know that I'd done that, to be honest.
So I bought one of those, but I ended up taking it back, the Reef Factory one, because I had a problem with it. So you get problems. I'm not blaming it. I'm not saying it's a good product. I actually didn't, because it was one to cover for holiday, so I didn't need it set up all the time. I actually then swapped it out for one that was just a plug and play, because with Reef Factory, obviously got to set it up. You then got to not calibrate it, but put it on the app and stuff like that. Because I only wanted it for holiday, it was a bit of a ball's ache for me. I'm not saying it's not a good product, but for me, I just wanted to use it out of the box, and that didn't. And there was a problem. And to be fair, I could have taken it back the next day to the LFS, and they would have sorted it out and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. So it was just for me when I got it. I'm in a way I was glad it didn't work, because I didn't want the hassle of setting it up. And it might not be, David, it may not be a hassle setting it up, but it was just, in the end, I'm glad I went for a plug and play one in the end. That's all I needed.
Reef Factory, they do a good KH keeper. You need to ask Steve about
that. Allegedly.
He's on next week. Ask him about his KH keeper.
Yeah, I think he's loving it at the moment, because we haven't had any posts about it, have we? So he's in love. It's a love-hate relationship, isn't it? That most definitely, and I think he's loving it.
Yeah, they are a bit of a rip-off scholars, but they do look. Some of them do look really nice.
I like the colours that you get in Scollies. That's the thing. I mean, the colours are fantastic in them. That's probably the big thing. But for the price that you pay, it's overinflated, I think. Yeah.
They are. You don't get many that are below 200, and you have to really shop for 200. I think you should get Nessie's Lair to get something for you. Ross, they'd probably be a lot cheaper than elsewhere.
Probably about 25 quid from there, I think.
Got a nice one in just now, actually. I think. I don't know how much it is, but it was really nice. I was in last week or the week before I was over, and I seen it, and I thought it's a nice one. But I need to actually make sure
from like 1989 or something.
I think it was 1999 with a free tank.
Yeah,
but with Carl's comment there, he's a bit biased at the moment because he's in love with SPS, isn't he? Having seen his Instagram, he's gone all out SPS. I've seen on that, and I don't know. I go through phases with corals, but yeah, SPS are nice.
My tank's always done better with. Oops, sorry. My tank's always done better with LPS for whatever reason. I don't know why, but.
No, your brown SPS is really nice, Jay.
It's consistent, isn't it? Do you know what?
I need to say this. I need to say this on camera. The one that's brown is not from Signature Frags, right? Because he's got back to me and said, "Can you stop saying your SPS is brown?" It's not the one from Signature Frags, because I'm getting in trouble here. I won't say where it's from, but it's not from there. And it's actually got a bit of colour. It's got a bit of colour.
But brown means
jumping about the comments a little bit here.
Joe.
Sorry, mate.
So I just want to say, if it's brown, it's still alive. It's just either in the wrong place or not getting the right flow, lights on nutrient. Because if it really didn't like it, it would probably bail and it would strip and turn white. So, it's in hibernation, should we call it? And so
it's hibernating. But you know what? I've got faith in it. I reckon it's going to come good. It's going to come good. It just needs a few months. The problem is I keep knocking it. That's the problem.
Carl is an SPS, not now. So I was just going to actually jump in there, Paul, and say that David replied to your comment about the ATO, saying they've recently done a firmware update that's totally changed how it works. So you might find that it's a bit better now. Yeah.
No, I didn't get that far, but when I read the instructions, because it wouldn't switch on. But I find with Reef Factory, you have a look each iteration they bring out products, and then quite often through software and firmware, their products improve quite a bit as they go along, and they do listen to people in terms of the feedback and new features.
I think we touched on that previously about Reef Factory stuff of waiting for like the second or third rev.
Yeah, but thank you, David.
They make it good in the end. Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's quite a few comments here about Jay's tank being brown tank, brown corals. Jay, there was a comment here actually from Black Pearl that I wanted to put up on the screen. I don't know if anybody else seen your new tank that you got recently.
Right. I'm not joking.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Can we get two of the polybox?
My wife came. She was, "Oh, your fish arrived." I came in here and I was like, "Whoa, Mike, what the hell is that? What have I ordered? Have I ordered the right thing here?" It was in fact, it's here. Look, check this. I kept it for you.
At least it was well packaged, mate.
It won't fit in the wheelie bin, Ross. It won't fit in the wheelie bin. Look at it.
Put it in front of the tank.
Look.
There you go.
The fish is like as long as you're like, well, not even as long as your little finger. It's tiny. Look at that.
Hey.
I couldn't even get it out. He wouldn't even come out of here. He wanted to stay in.
So at least it had plenty of room, mate.
So Jay, how was it packaged? Because obviously it came in a bag. Was there loads of noodles and stuff like that around it?
It came in a container off a bloody ship by the looks of it. It just came straight here. We just delivered it. It came in about 100-litre polybox. Then it came with, it's on my video actually at the weekend. So if you want to see the full workings. Actually though, my wife has to unbox it because I'm at work. So she unboxes it. It came with some heat packs in there. I think two heat packs, loads of newspaper packed in around it so it couldn't move. And then it was like triple bagged and it had loads of water in. It must have had, guessing about 5 litres of water. And then had some carbon in there as well, obviously, for ammonia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's not cheap to post that. I know if he posts out on a regular basis, he'll get a discount compared to
what £12 with Nessie's layer. Nothing's expensive there.
It's APC that he uses, I believe, is it not, Jay?
Yeah, APC came before 9 o'clock, I believe, yeah.
That is good.
Yeah, it's an early one.
Yeah. I think is it APC. I think there's only one courier in the UK that will officially accept to ship coals and them. So it must be them because I think some other LFS does. Because I think others don't guarantee it and don't like shipping coals and fish. So I know Royal Mail they will not insure against that.
Start using your tank as the ATO, Jay.
I knew as soon as I saw it. When I saw the box, I was like, "But that's big," and I thought, "Oh my god, I can make a video of this now. Everybody's just going to rip the hell out of me."
I bet you thought it was the Stingray had sent you or something.
So on the video, you can't see the tank because the box is so bloody big. Yeah.
It's going to be one of those tricks, isn't it? Anybody else like, hang on, Jay, I've got exactly the same size polybox here. So look, what's the same size polybox that I've got?
Yes. It was in there. It was just doing lengths. You're doing lengths.
It's got more room there, isn't it? It thinks it's come out of a big tank into a small tank in transit.
I think what he's thinking is this must be the quarantine. I'll be out of here soon. Speaking of quarantines, though, a lot of people are recommending a quarantine tank. So when I upgrade, that will become the quarantine tank because more and more I read about this and more I learn about it, the more I'm realizing that it is actually an important thing to have. So that's that. I'm never going to sell that. I love the Max Nano, as you know.
Yeah.
And it will be a quarantine tank.
So what I was going to throw out on that one though, Jay. Sorry, Paul. Is on that one. So I bought I think it's maybe a 10-gallon. No, it must be I don't know what it is, but a decent size. It's like the plastic aquariums that you get that I'm going to use as a quarantine tank if I need one. So it's not going to be set up and running all the time, but I'll be able to set it up pretty quickly. I've got all the stuff there for it. Because for you to have that Max Nano as a quarantine tank, you're going to end up sitting with an empty tank with nothing in it that you're going to be annoyed with. And I think if you kept it as a frag tank or something, fair enough, yeah. But I think a quarantine tank like that, you would probably get fed up with and go, it's just pointless having an empty tank sitting here. Yeah. Because I mean, it's not as if it's going to be cycled or anything because it's going to be sitting empty, isn't it?
Yeah, it might not look that pretty either. And I like things to look kind of nice and neat.
I suppose it depends if it's going to be a full-on QT tank where you're going to treat it with copper, or whether it's a tank where you're going to observe the fish. So you could have an observation tank, and then you could have corals in there if that's what you want to do. And that way you're making sure it's okay, you're making sure it's eating properly and stuff like that. Because quite often, if you put fish in and it's quite a busy tank and they can't get the food, that's when they start stressing, and that's when it can cause problems both the fish and other fish. But if you can get it fishing and it's plump and it's okay, then you can take it out of there and put it into the bigger tank. Doesn't mean you may not have problems, because if other fish pick on it, but at least you can observe it and you're not putting it straight in. I know some people do that, so it's not getting treated with copper or other kind of treatments that say that NLFS do, or people do. It's an alternative. It's probably not as good as an alternative as a proper quarantine tank, but it might be a halfway house, Jay. It's just
I think I was a bit naive when I came into the hobby, and I was like, oh, just put that in. But the more you learn about it, the more you realise, the fish diseases that are out there, the kind of whatever, the hitchhikers and all that sort of stuff that you really don't want to have in there anymore. So that's just made me think, a quarantine tank could be a possibility, really. And I don't want to damage my reef tank now. I've got to that stage where I don't want. No one does, do they? No one does. And I worry about putting anything in. So the only reason why I got this new fish is because Nessie's layer quarantined. Well, mine was in quarantine for 4 weeks. Mine was in quarantine for 4 weeks. That's some right voice from somewhere.
I heard that too.
Quarantine for 4 weeks. So when I put the fish in, I felt a bit more, comfortable with that. Yeah. So
I would pay extra for fish if it's gone through the treatments and the LFS have had it for a period of time. There's no guarantee, because a quarantine doesn't catch everything, but it will hopefully eliminate a lot of the risk that you've got. So I would definitely pay more for that. And of course, the more stock you get, the more you be prepared on that. So, just even if it's paying extra, I don't know, 10, 20 quid on a fish, I wouldn't bother about it when you look at what it eliminates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple of comments, Jay, about keeping it running or an observation tank. Observation tank's probably a good way to go with it, because it means you can put corals and so on in there, and kind of keep it going.
Like have frags in there as well and things.
Yeah.
That could be a possibility. I get to that stage where I worry about putting things in now, and I'm worried about getting issues and problems. And I know to some extent you can't avoid it, but I think the quarantine tank helps you to avoid it, obviously, for longer.
Yeah. There's a comment here from Rudra who's put, if you buy fish from someone else rather than a shop, wouldn't the chance of some disease be very low? I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know.
Because it could be the tank you're buying it from has diseased fish in it under the surface, or they may not be as healthy as they would be from an LFS.
I don't really know.
I mean, I've bought fish from other reefers and they've been fine. I don't know if it's very low though.
I think tank to tank's probably the risk.
It depends what fish you get as well, because some are more susceptible to disease. I know certainly with wrasse, as you bring them home, they can quite often they hate being transported. And I know quite often people say if they go into the sand, if they don't come out within a few days, and you've got problems. I've only lost one wrasse in that way, where it disappeared. I never saw it before, so I've been quite lucky in that respect. But they could be quite sensitive to being transported.
I think it's the stress of that, really, isn't it? That's probably the thing.
Yeah.
Especially if they're settled in an aquarium, they've been in for a while, and then you whip them out and put them in an air tank, it could probably stress them out just as much as buying them from a shop would stress them out, I suppose. So.
Yeah, even more. I mean, when you see some people, you see posts around, they've got ick in their tank, and then, I've seen people say, right, take them out and put them in a quarantine. People have stressed the fish out and ripped their tank to bits trying to get the fish out, which then stresses them, and they put them in the QT and they die. Now, they might have died anyway, but certainly when you're trying to get a fish and take it out, it can be really stressful for the fish.
Well, luckily enough that we know a guy that's actually really good at catching fish now. He's an expert at it. So.
Yeah, it took him 5 weeks, didn't it?
I know. Yeah.
Every video I was like, come on, he's got it. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
The last one did not disappoint. Check out on Mogsy's Aquarium YouTube channel.
Yeah. So there's a couple of comments. Get the fish from a good shot, but you still run the risks. Totally agree with that. There's going to be risks. Practical Reefer, never seen a 6 fish in Nessie's crack. QT treatment procedure. Fish come from there. So
is he more fish than corals, Ross? Because he looks like it on the video.
Yeah, he's got a lot more fish than corals, mate.
Yeah, his fish stock.
I think the coral side of thing is going to come on a bit. But I think he's because he buys a lot of his stuff direct from the suppliers rather than going to like TMC and places like that. Then I think he's struggling to get in the pieces that he would normally get just now. So that's why his coral's slightly lower stock than the fish side of things. But I think the coral probably will become more and more as time goes on. But he's fishing, that's his passion, I believe. So
you can see,
and also a lot of shops for the coral, they want to create their own farm. It's a bit like signature frags, isn't it? You think how long it's taking him to get those colonies, to grow them out, to frag them, and then you go through that cycle. So there's more and more shops I've certainly know where they are creating their own coral farms and being more sustainable. And it does, unless they go out and buy loads of corals, and then you've got to frag them. It takes time to settle those systems up and everything else. So probably taking a while if he wants to get into that, that's quite a big cycle to go through to get the range of corals to make them fraggable. And then you've got what you need for someone. But fish, if you buy them direct, it's slightly easier, isn't it, Ross? I think is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go down. I mean, I may be speaking out of turn, but I don't think he'll go down the route of trying to culture his own corals. Really? I think it's more going to be a case of buying corals in, selling them. I mean, he might buy colonies and frag them up, I don't know. But I don't think the plan will be to have his own kind of coral farm as such. But yeah, the fish is definitely more of a draw, I think, than the corals anyway.
Yeah, the fish are super healthy. If I wanted another fish now, I'd go and get another one from him.
Yeah,
I would buy one from him online. I trust him after what I've seen and the health of the fish and things like that. It's crazy. Really
I think
good.
a lot of people, it's just taking that initial plunge to actually buy a fish online or to go to a different LFS, or it's the same. We all get into that rut of using the same place, regardless if it's the same place you go for your dinner, the same place you go to get your shop. You always go to the same place. So once you kind of get used to a shop, it's hard to go away from that. So I think if you can take a chance on a different LFS and it works for you, then why not?
Yeah, I think for me, for fish, I'd buy corals in different places, but fish is only 2 places I go for that very point, because I know how they look after the fish and they would keep them for me for a period of time, because I don't quarantine and I know I should. And by having the LFS look after it, it doesn't eradicate it. So I know it's on me and it's my responsibility. I mean, in the main tank, I haven't added a fish for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's full, whereas the other 2 smaller tanks, they've only got 4 fish in each one. So I took the risk of, obviously, with those, but all those fish have come from AAC and I wouldn't go anywhere else to buy fish. That's just my personal view in that, because each time he's had the fish for at least 3 weeks before I've taken the fish home. So for me, that's bang on, and I haven't got to wait for it to come through the post over, Jay. So it's only a half-hour drive.
I can't wait to visit AAC at some point. I'm definitely going to visit it.
So Cole, I know Cole's on and he goes down AAC. Do you buy your fish anywhere other than AAC? And I think Woody's on here as well. Did I see Woody's Reef? I think Woody uses AAC. So it'll be interesting to see what other ones you use local to me, or do you just go to, or anyone really? Do you just stick to the same place for fish, or you go elsewhere? I suppose if you do your own QT, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
Cookie's Reef just put an order in from Nessie's. So.
Yeah, mate, it's good. It's good for fish, but surely the margins are higher on coral. So if he's for the LFS, you think you have a lot of coral as well.
Yeah. I help out in Nessie's there every other week. Definitely the best place seen for fish health. Jamie goes extra milk. Yeah.
Fish do look really good. They are really good fish. Yes.
I want to go back to a comment that was from Bravo 20 here that said a good way to check for disease is freshly converted mollies as canaries. They've no antibodies for the saltwater diseases, so come up pretty quickly. Wow, that's a valid point. Actually, I didn't even think of that, but it probably makes sense, to be honest.
Practical Reefer's good at breeding them, isn't he?
Well, he is, but he gave them to Bravo 20, and Bravo 20 managed to get them munched. So
what? What's eating those?
I don't know if it was his.
He was babysitting them, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and I think he lost some of them. I don't quite know how, if it was that lionfish or if it was I went into some for something, maybe, I'm not sure. I dare say he'll come on in a minute because I've told him up for it now, so we'll see what he says.
That lionfish was crazy.
The lionfish was really cool, actually. I enjoyed seeing that feeding.
Cool. I can see that getting rid of a molly in a second.
Yeah, I think he was talking about maybe moving it to a different tank, because I think it was just going to start causing havoc, to be honest.
Also, I'd be scared to put my hands in and you're messing around the tank and all of a sudden it sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
But is that where the lambing gloves come in? Mind you, your gloves you've got, would that stop a lionfish? You'd have to have
no way.
Reinforced, wouldn't you?
They're like the gloves that you got from, I don't know what they were, the minder gloves you used to get at petrol stations and so on. That's the kind of thickness of them. They're nothing really, nothing to them. You would still get stabbed through them, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've seen this week, actually? Reef soap.
What?
I don't know if anybody else. Reef soap. So before you put your hand in the tank, you wash your arm or hand with Reef soap, which is natural ingredients that neutralizes any like toxins that are on your hand, and then you can stick your hand in. So I'm trying to get hold of a bar of soap. Reef soap, it's called. I don't know if anybody else has heard.
I think that comment sums it up perfectly.
No, genuinely. Right, it's on Fragbox TV, the Canadian channel.
Right, he's got channel. Yeah.
Right, it's sold out super quick, and now he's got some more back in, and it's really popular. Reef soap, Reef soap, it's called. Wait up. And
I'd love to know what's in that then, and what it would actually. I mean, if it's going to take toxins and so on off your skin, then great. But you could just put a glove on, I suppose. But
right, I don't know. It might just be in Canada that's available, but it looked good.
I don't know if we've any Canadians in the chat.
Oh, we'll have somebody from Toronto, I'm sure. Or it's very global, this chat tonight. We've got Australia, we've got somewhere else, Cuba.
Going back to the mollies, here's the reason. Sure, there was a chromis stuck in his weir that ate a few, and then when you come down a bit, he says, I was babysitting, they squeezed through the weir, had a rogue anthea in the weir who ate 6 out of the 11, still got 5.
Ouch.
Wow. That's the problem. Can you actually go on holiday with this hobby? It's crazy. Can't find that Reef soap now. It looks stupid, but it does exist. Fragbox TV, watch the video.
There you go. Just get some lambing gloves.
I don't really like it because it's like it'd stick to you, wouldn't it? You know, like when your mum and dad say go in the swimming pool with a t-shirt on. It's horrible. No, I'm not going to. That's what it's like. No. I need to find this now. Honestly, it does exist.
There's a fellow Falkirk man. That's where I stay. Hoggy, welcome to the chat, mate.
There must be nothing else in Scotland. Everybody in Scotland's a reefer, as far as I can tell. There's about 1 million of you.
He actually has a really, really nice tank. It was him that I got the clove polyps and my gorgonian from, and it's actually a stunning tank he's got. It's one of the Red Sea reefers. Really, really nice.
Right.
Jay needs that skin. What's this one?
What's the other about?
Skin connection with his livestock.
I like to get skin to skin with them. It helps with the bonding.
That and reading stories, AJ.
Yeah.
Jay, have you been sniffing the coral glue before you came on? That's what Black Pearl Reefs want to know.
No, it's genuine. So Fragbox Corals is a Canadian YouTube channel, and it's way better than my channel. So follow it. And he does a daily video, which is insane if you manage to do a daily video. And he talks about on a recent one, soap that you.
So they must have been scraping the barrel for a video that week, I think. Then.
No, it's got other things on it. It was just like, we're back in stock with the reef soap, and everybody's like, "Oh, get me some! I want some." It's all over in Canada.
It's a great promotional YouTube channel, isn't it? A bit like BRS.
Right, I'm going to bring it to the UK and then make some money.
There's an inside comment here that only a few people get, but I'm going to put it on the screen anyway. He's been sniffing my van. So only people that have seen my van will know what that comment is about, but it's a good one.
Has it passed its emissions test?
Oh, yeah. It's better than that. I'll send you a photo of it after this, Jay, and you'll realise what it means.
Yeah.
There's a valid comment. Stick a reef sticker on it and add 100%. That seems true and everything.
Fair comment.
That is true.
A couple of people saying they rinse their hands with RODI water before they put them in the tank.
Yeah, I do that at the moment. I put my hand in a bucket of RO.
Rinse hand arms really well when washing them.
Yeah.
That one. Yep, firework cloves, the one that I got from Hoggy. So that's that there. Reef Dork, good to see you, mate. And get similar stuff out the tap, Jay.
It's well, I need to find you the evidence now. I knew I shouldn't have said that. I need you to be all like, oh, yeah.
Jay, I believe you. It's just a case of someone just stick, as Paul has said on there, you put a sticker on it and put X amount of the price, and then you're salty. It's probably just unscented soap.
Yeah,
if I were that old, was it pear soap you used to get? It'll be something like that.
I don't know really now. It wasn't Imperial leather anyway, let's just say that.
There's one Practical Reefer said, I watched one last week when he fed a pest bristle worm that eats snails to 2 arrow crabs and they went wild for it. That sounds like Mac in a video.
It's a good channel. It's a really good channel. It's a daily vlog of a coral shop.
Yeah.
I can't find it. I can't find it now, which is horrendous, but it does exist. It's in the last week on one of their videos. Anyway.
Sorry, I just read this comment. This needs my hand. I wash it in the main display. Been fine so far.
Oh, yeah.
Can't argue that.
Well, I worry about putting any... Oh, my God, that's a long comment to read. Read it to me, Ross.
Oh.
He's just going to sit back and you can read all the comments.
What's it say? That's just too long. What's it say?
It's basically slagging you off again, mate.
What is, yeah.
There you go. In a couple of words.
Cheers back, Pearl Reef. I hope to meet him one day, honestly. I hope to meet him one day.
Are we going to Cracknell?
We can go for a beer, mate.
Don't know. Is he Black Pearl Reef? Are you going to Cracknell? That'd be good if you are.
He's a good laugh. No one's going up. Where's your massive pole, Ross? Get your massive pole up.
Oh, sorry. I was
That's it's not 9 o'clock yet.
Family friendly show, isn't it?
Family friendly.
The poll. So there was 60 votes. How's good your maths, Jay? There was 60 votes. 88% was no and 12% yes.
Wow. 88% no. See, there's no fuel left in the country. That's what that is.
So what's 12% of 60?
I haven't got a clue, mate.
Come on, you're the teacher.
I don't teach maths.
Was it 7?
I teach geography.
Don't know.
No, here we go.
Opinionated reefer as well. So that's another one of the Falkirk Mafia. That's 3 of us on tonight. There's quite a few Falkirk boys here.
I like the logo.
I love Scotland, by the way. I'm just putting it out there ready for next weekend.
There he is. He's doing his Switzerland impression.
I know.
Jay, there's a question here aimed at you, mate. Not a bad one this time. Your latest video gives an idea of the dosing you do.
What's that?
The latest video gives an idea of the dosing you do. Don't think all are automatic. So how would you do holidays?
How would I do? What do you mean, dosing in holidays?
Yeah, if you're going away on holiday.
Yeah, mine. I've got a D&D doser, so it'll just carry on.
So everything you do is automatic.
Well, no, actually not. My phytoplankton isn't. That's manual dosing, but that's the only one that is. I'm sounding like Steve now, aren't I?
I got some phytoplankton when I was over at Nessie's the other day, just after the live stream, to see how it would
works.
go. So this one is, I believe it's somebody that comes in at the shop that actually breeds them or cultures them, whatever you want to call it, and it's a mixture of 3 different types. You get 3 different types of phytoplankton, and this is a mixture that he explained it to me, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't really follow it as such, but I think you get one that's at this level, one that's at that level, and one's at another level, and the 3 of them mixed together in the right ratio gives you basically the perfect level of phytoplankton.
Anything for biodiversity, that sounds good. Yeah. What's it called?
It's a homemade thing. I think it's a woman that brings them into the shop, mate. It's not like a company as such.
It'd be an ultra uber phyto.
Yeah, that's it. It's an OG ultra phytoplankton.
Yeah. But going back to that question, if you kind of like phyto and stuff like that, if you're going away for like 7 days,
yeah, you don't really need to, would you?
Your tank. It's a bit different with alkalinity and stuff like that, where you want to keep it. rock solid. But then again, it depends on what you're keeping, because you can go for a few days and it probably won't make too much of a difference. It depends on the consumption and everything else. If your tank's used to, I don't know, say 100 milliliters of alkalinity a day or something like that, if you stop that for a few days, it's going to make a difference. I would say. There's just a couple comments in here. So I see Reef King, yeah, you don't get your fish from AAC, but you got someone that you know. And Woody's Reef, yeah, it goes to only AAC for fish. I don't think I've met Woody's Reef, so it'd be good if you go down AAC, I'll meet you down there if you want.
Someone asked me a question about a UV sterilizer. That's the only thing. That's the only thing on this tank that I wish I had. I would definitely run one. I've read lots about it, researched it. I feel the benefits outweigh the cons, as it were. Yeah, so if I got a new tank, I would run a UV. So
I've seen a few people talking about I might get the name wrong here, but I think it's a mini green killing machine or something like that, and it's basically an all-in-one type thing you can put in the tank. And I think it's only about 40 quid, and it gets a really good name. I've watched quite a few reviews on it, and it's one of them you could put it in one of your rear chambers, or you could put it in the tank as well, but it's basically got a pump and everything built in it, so you just slot it in and away it goes. You don't have to have like plumbing in and out, so it'd be ideal for a little nano tank or something.
My nano sump is absolutely ram-packed with stuff at the moment, so it wouldn't. I've got no room. But yeah, if I had some room, I would squeeze one in there. But
Julie's saying she uses that as well, so it did get a really good write-up from what I read. And even if it was a temporary thing that you could put it in and take it back out again, even in the main tank, I suppose you could do. But
so what would I mean in that tank there? With a couple of clowns, you only got a couple of fish. Why would you use a UV?
I've got 5 fish now, Paul. It's fully stocked. Okay. It's absolutely, it's packed out. It's absolutely packed out. Why would I run a UV? Just
on that tank, on a bigger tank, most definitely.
Especially if I was starting a new tank, because it kind of eliminates dinos, doesn't it? In the first instance.
But
not that you always have dinos.
Dinos is usually caused in a new tank by taking the levels too low. And that's why a lot of people get dinos now compared to a few years ago, because a few years ago people had live rock, therefore you had the beneficial bacteria in your tank. And also the filtration in tanks today, that's a mess. I mean, it's so much better today than when I started, and that was only 7 years ago. So unless anyone says, I think dinos, certainly new tanks, is caused by your nutrients being non-existent or far lower. I'm just interested to know, that's all, Jay, because I would definitely, if I had a bigger tank than what I've got, and I have things like tanks, I would definitely 100% run a UV from what I've seen.
I just think you'd have less problems if you ran one, and you'd avoid more issues. And the cost of them they're not that expensive, and they're quite easy to set up. So why not run something that's just going to give you an extra layer of protection, really?
Yeah,
that's the only reason. But I've been impressed by what I've read and heard about them, and I would definitely run one.
Yeah, I know people that wouldn't run a tank without it.
The question is, can you? Now this might sound stupid again, but newbie question here: can you almost see how I had over filtered my tank with putting too much biomedia in? Will the UV over filter the bacteria and so on? Will it kill? Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a thing.
Well, no, most bacteria lives in the sand and the rock, doesn't it? Rather than the water column. I know there is some in the water column, but the vast majority of it lives in the substrate or the rock. So
yeah,
you will kill some inevitably. But
Julie's put in there around. She used it for ick, and of course with ick it can float within the water, and of course then it goes for the UV and it kills it off. But yeah,
I just think what's the disadvantage of running it, really?
I don't know. That's why I was asking if it can.
I've not really heard any, Ross, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anybody in the chat can help us out there. The disadvantage of running UV.
I've heard that it can kill some beneficial bacteria, but then people say it's outweighed by the good it can do to the tank.
Yeah.
But I've never run one before, so.
I think it's good for some kind of suspended algae as well, isn't it? Like if you've got.
Yeah.
I've seen more freshwater side of things where tanks look really green when the water quality is quite green, and the guys run carbon and so on. But if you put the UV sterilizer in, then it will clear up that. Now I don't think that's as big a problem in marine tanks as what it is in freshwater, but.
Carbon, yeah, carbon does a similar thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's quite a common thing. Put carbon in. There's a valid point though, is that you've got to get the flow right for UV to work right.
Yeah.
That's quite a big thing.
And it's two different flows. To run it for Dinos is a different flow than it is for Rick. And I can't remember, you have a faster flow for one and a slower flow for the other, but as I've never had one before, never really need to. I can't remember which way around it is.
Yeah.
You probably won't acknowledge, you probably end up not acknowledging what it's doing, because it's just that you would avoid the problems.
Yeah.
So you'd never like go, oh, that UV steriliser's done a really good job, because it's actually prevented a problem that you didn't even know was going to, develop.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit weird. Why we're worried about problems that, it just prevents things before they start, doesn't it?
Without starting a whole other debate, here's another valid point. It puts your electricity to work.
Now that is a disadvantage. I don't think as a Yorkshireman, if you hit the
yeah, it's going to get worse, isn't it? If you look about electricity prices, certainly what's happened this week.
My supplier went bust this week, so I don't have a supplier anymore.
So because my son did, he got automatically switched to British Gas, but the problem with that, he hasn't got a tariff now. So they'll say, yeah, switch over to British Gas. I'm sure he's on a standard variable, because you wouldn't automatically get put onto a fixed rate. So we had that conversation, which I know that, it's not related to reefing, but enough adds up. If you get on, they're talking about going up 20-30%. That's a lot on your normal, let alone if you've got a number of tanks.
Yeah. But I suppose that's one of the things you factor in when you first set these up, that you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Usually if you set up a reef tank, your electricity bit is the least of your costs, isn't it?
Yeah, I must admit, I didn't think of it, and I still don't
Coals,
think of it. I try and work out. Yeah, absolutely. Coals and everything else that you do.
I certainly wouldn't want to look at mine, because I've got the frog tank, I've got that marine tank, I've got the crab tank, I've got 2 freshwater tanks downstairs, I've got the hot tub running, I've got everything that just is going to destroy my electricity. So yeah, it's not something that I really want to think about.
You've not invited me round for the hot tub yet. I can't believe that. Didn't even know you had one.
No, because you'd want me to drip acclimate you before you got into
it. and then use the proper soap, so he's okay to and use the tank afterwards.
Reef safe soap, we can get in there.
Reef safe bubble bath.
Bubble bath. Well, that is a hell of a jump. When's that? Is that? I know obviously we've got an energy shortage at the moment. Is that happening right now then?
So that comment there, I had actually heard somebody that was on my Facebook had posted up saying that their energy had just ran out, basically, so they'd renewed their contract, and the cheapest one they could get was £100 per month dearer than what they were paying already.
Wow,
I'm glad I'm in a fixed thing for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I just fixed to 2023 when they say the price is going to go up, I think, in October, and then again potentially in April, because the wholesale prices, that's when the reviews are. So I fixed
mine to £108 per month 2 months ago, and the company just went bust. So
save a bit of money then.
You feeling blue, are you, Jay?
Yeah, I'm saving some money now. If it's £200, that's a hell of a lot a year. Wow.
There's a brilliant comment from Salty Vegas, which is a couple down.
Oh yeah, thankful for living in a desert with solar power. There you
go.
Yeah. So what we all need to do is move to Vegas then.
Oh, is he living in Las Vegas? Wow.
No, he actually lives in New York, mate. It's nothing to do.
Yeah, there's a massive desert in New York, Jay.
I thought it was just a cool name. I didn't realise he was actually from Vegas. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's in Vegas.
It's desert and Vegas. It might not be.
It must be like, what time is it there? About 1 PM or something. It must be about 1 PM.
He's put down yes. So definitely in Vegas.
He's on his lunch break. He must be on his lunch break. I'd love to go to Vegas to watch the fights.
I'm going to Tottenham tomorrow to watch the Joshua fight.
Oh yeah,
not quite Vegas though, is it?
No, North London or Vegas. No, not quite.
Well, I'll be pressing the red button and paying whatever it is, £20.
Yeah. So my son,
that'll be a good night, though, mate, won't it?
I want to go, so I said, I think it's quite. It starts really early. I think the fight is about 10 o'clockish or 10:30.
Yeah.
There's a few fight undercards, so we'll go probably mid-afternoon, have a couple of beers, and then go into the stadium. I haven't been there before, so should be good.
It'll probably be more aimed at an American audience, so that's probably why the time's a bit earlier to catch them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not actually.
No, it's 10:30, so it'd be quite early over there. We had fights
Yeah,
over
that's
here before. I remember many moons ago, and some of the older people will remember this. Frank Bruno fought Tyson, and I remember going to a place in a snooker hall, and that was 2 a.m. And that start. I'm sure it was way late at night, but there we go.
Cheers, Michael.
I
thought you were my mate.
So I suppose I should ask the question, what's been happening this week, Jay, other than your new fish? How's things going?
What's been happening this week? Well, I've done a little bit of water testing today. That was quite interesting because I thought everything was going well, and there's a few parameters that have just swung me a little bit, so I've had to just adjust a few things. So I'll run through them because people like to hear parameters, don't they? I think, or do they not? I don't know. Most people like to hear them for some reason. They often ask. So my temperature was 25.6.
Oh,
is that standard for you, Jay? About
that's standard. That's standard for me. My pH was 8.3.
That's good.
I won't do ammonium nitrite because there was 0. Nitrate.
Wait, Jay, do you still test for ammonium nitrite?
No.
I don't.
Not really. No, but they're always 0. I used to do, and they're 0, so I've given up now.
I've got to say, other than my very first tank, I've never tested them since on any tank I've set up.
The Duncan.
I tested during the cycle for them, and then obviously maybe like 2 or 3 weeks after that, I still tested just to make sure that everything was all right. But I've never tested for them again since.
I tested them for about 3 months, and then that was it. First 3 months. So nitrate was 8 ppm. Phosphate. Now I think this is a bit low, and I wasn't happy with this. 0.05. Now most people,
not too bad, mate.
Yeah, most people in this chat will go, "Oh, well, that's all right." But I actually I've gone along with Steve on this one, and Cincture frags. I like mine to run at 0.08 to 0.1. Okay, so a little bit high. I like to run mine a little bit higher on a mixed reef. So I have put a little bit of the phosphate power in there tonight.
I've been showing that last week or the week before, and you hadn't used it at that stage. So obviously you've been supplementing.
You just want an excuse to use it, Paul. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, Nick trying to compete with Algae Warrior with his cupboard of goodies of potions.
No one can compete with that. He's got everything there.
Yeah.
So I have dosed some of that in the sump today because I don't like my phosphates at that level. It affects the colour, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I like them a little bit higher for a mixed reef. I know, like SPS people, it's better to have it that low. So I wasn't happy with my phosphates. Alkalinity was 9. That's really stable. Calcium was 470. The corals are happy. The one that I was most upset about, my magnesium, 1290 ppm. Now, and I keep hearing this. I don't know about people in the chat. Everybody's running kind of elevated magnesium at the moment. Well, not everybody, but quite a few people are saying they're seeing the benefits of like 1400 for magnesium, some as high as 1500, and they're like coral farms and coral growers and things like that. So I don't know if this is a thing, but I've put some. I've dosed a bit more magnesium. I put the dose up on magnesium because mine's low for whatever reason. So yeah, but I'd like it to be a lot higher. Actually, I'd like it to be nearer 1400.
Yeah, 1250 does seem a bit low. I usually run mine
1290
between about 1400 and 1450 is how I run.
Yeah.
Then I put calcium at 450 as well on that.
So I think magnesium is that coloration, Paul, as well. I believe.
I thought for more on colour, it was more the minor elements. I can't remember about magnesium, what that fuels. I can't remember. I'm sure.
So I just checked mine's there. Mine's is sitting at 1300 the last time I did a test.
See, that's quite on the low end at the moment, Ross.
The trend is too low.
High magnesium.
Yeah.
Again, though, mate, it's stable. So as long as it's sitting at that, I mean,
if your tank looks good and things are growing, then.
Well, someone said my corals didn't look very bright. So cheeky sods. Come on, on one of my YouTube videos when your corals are all bleached out, and I'm like, what? Bleached out, he said. So maybe he knows I've got low magnesium.
I tell you what, there's some interesting comments in here about pH, because I've been
that is so important.
The tank I've got in the garage, the pH is low, and I just can't grow SPS, and I think it's down to that because the rest of the parameters are right. So I've been looking around at potentially using a CO2 scrubber. So there's some really good videos, BRS ones, on there. I'm hoping that they'll make one via Apex or a kit or something like that, because otherwise you're going to get a solenoid and other stuff. But I'm thinking of Russell. I'm thinking of getting a CO2 scrubber. And I think they've done some videos where the coral growth is up by about 40-50% by having your pH at about a kind of 8.2, 8.3 level. That really does help coral growth. And there's some comments in there around that.
So that one, there's no such thing as stable pH. I do agree with that, because your pH, if you measure that in the morning, lunchtime, evening, it'll change quite a bit. So I think you could have stable pH if you're measuring it exactly the same time every day. Yeah. But it will vary throughout the whole day.
That's why people get a pH controller, a pH probe. You get it on Apex and other things, because then you can monitor it, and then you can manage it.
See it rise and fall every day.
So some people run things like Refugium overnight, because Refugiums can help push up the pH. You got the light in there as well, obviously, and then the pH. But yeah, you're right. It will naturally, you find, go down at night, and I find out my Apex in the main tank that you see a drop at night because it's got a pH probe in there. But I'm not overly worried about it because the pH is fairly high all of the time. But you're right, you have to do something special or something different at night. But also calc Fossa as well does that.
I couldn't resist putting that one on the screen.
Oh dear.
Sorry,
I did give him a funny comment back, whoever said it.
It was Bravo 20.
It wasn't Bravo 20 that said it on my other video, I don't think.
No, it wasn't, mate. Sorry.
That was somebody else.
A different count, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Michael Butler's picked you up again, Jay.
Cheers, mate. We're back mates now after his other comment.
he's retrieved it.
No, going back to that pH thing, I think that is like one of the most critical measures of the health of a reef. You know, you can a high elevated pH, 8.3, 8.4, 8.5. You're onto a winner, I feel.
Yeah.
And when it drops below 8, then it's more difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I try and measure mines roughly about 6 o'clock at night time if I'm going to measure it. That's the kind of time that I go for, and it's about 8.2, give or take. That's what mine usually sits at, but that's around about 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah. But you usually find if you get decent air in the room and you got some fresh air coming in, that helps. The problem I have is in the garage, and there
isn't the garage door. Just leave the garage door up all night.
It's one option. Yeah, in the winter it's gonna freeze. So yeah, I need to do something there, because at the moment I'm not, other than some Monties, I haven't got SPS in that tank, because I know they're not going to do very well. pH is around 7.8 all of the time.
Can't you bring one of them like vents in that blows with like a big funnel? Surely you can.
I could do. It's because how do I do it? It's really easy. So yeah, I could put some air vents in. I could get.
You know, they do on shower rooms and things like that.
Yeah. Usually that sucks the air out, doesn't it? But then
but you
can bring the air in. So I think either a CO2 scrubber or actually use calc. So I think that's a good idea.
There was a comment about calc earlier from Black Pearl there.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, so that's another option. You just got to make sure it doesn't all stay at the bottom on the calc. It all goes really hard and yucky. So I don't know if Black Pearl Reef, you've noticed that you can get calc stirrers, can't you? And the whole point of that is that it keeps it so it doesn't all go young.
Jay's just got a delivery.
My microphone.
Is she threw in the towel, mate? Is she threw in the towel?
Thrown in the towel, yeah. Marriage over. I spent 2 weeks time with my tank.
I thought you was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. They have yellow towels and they wave them around.
It's been microfiber. It's been in the washing machine, so it's all ready for buffing.
Did you order that in? You say, can you bring my buffer in?
They throw them on the pitch if there's a dispute or something.
That's all right. Yeah, if there's a row, there you go. You could be the referee.
Just missed my head with it. She threw it through the door.
So yeah, a couple of comments about obviously the pH fluctuating. So Cottage Reef said Senai monitors at 24/7, graphs like a wavy line, so no such thing as stable pH. So yeah, that's what we said. Mine's varies from 7.8 in the morning to 8.3 at night just before the lights go out. So yeah.
I test mine at the same time of day in the evening. So
yeah, if you can, that's probably the best thing. Scott Morrison said he's just counting and has 8 crabs I can see in 52 litre nano. Too much? I wouldn't say that was too much. It's probably about the same as my tank. I think that's
8
fine.
crabs. Wow, that's quite. I think
it depends on the size of the crabs. If it's little hermit crabs that aren't that big, then yeah, I don't see any issue with that.
I don't know much about crabs.
Yeah, if they're like Ross's crabs or crab that he had. 8 of those would be a terrorist cell, wouldn't it?
I haven't seen that crab on any of your videos, and apparently it's in that tank. So I don't know if you're telling the truth. You've been honest.
It is in the tank, mate. It's still
you've been honest to our viewers.
I am, mate. It's definitely still there, 100%.
So every time I see one of your videos, everybody's like, "Where's the crab, Ross, in this video? Where's the crab? Where's the crab in this video?"
I could, I'll get it on the video one night, mate. I'll put it in.
We have a crab special video.
Yeah. That'd be lost on a lot of people there, wouldn't it?
What was one I was going to put in here? There's a good idea actually from Black Pearl Reef, mate. There's a small hole in your wall to outside and on the airline for your skimmer to the outside.
Yeah. See, that's how you do it,
yeah.
Very good idea.
So I could easily do that because I could put the tube underneath the garage door. And so I could do that.
Yeah. And that's a very, very simple one to see if it works for a start.
Yeah. Because with a CO2 scrubber, you have to get filtration and then you have to get some media from what I've seen. So that is a really easier one, a lot easier to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sounds like a
Plus
plan.
with the CO2 scrubber, would it, if you're struggling for air in the garage, would it not kind of defeat the purpose of having the CO2 scrubber because it's not?
You probably have to get the air intake from outside anyway because it's just going to be stale.
I think the CO2 scrubber is more aimed at like if your tank's in a living room or something where there's a lot of people breathing.
It could be. So I could use the scrubber, but then I'm going to have to bring in fresh air from somewhere anyway. So to Black Pearl Reef's point, just do that anyway.
Yeah, where is the CO2 coming from in the garage if no one's sat in there? Or do you sleep in there?
No, there won't be.
You've got no fresh air coming into it at all. So it's going to be stale within it. So it can't raise the pH. Not that I really understand the science, other than know if you keep a window open, you get the fresh air and it helps your pH.
Well, it's like breathing out into it. That's what causes all the CO2.
Yeah.
So are you sleeping in there, Paul? Just
no, only when I'm in the doghouse.
On the doghouse.
or the garage house, whatever you want to call it. Mind you, it gets really hot in that room.
Yeah.
Jay, there's a question here for you.
Is it a serious one, please? Can I have a serious one?
If you watch the Civil using...
So everybody asks you the serious question. I just get ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, but Jay, we don't come on and say, have you seen that new reef soap?
Right, it does exist.
It's like
what's that? Soap powder. Reef soap powder.
Believe it or not, both Jambo's Reef and Black Pearl Reef said the exactly same comment at the same time. Has it been washed with a reef soap? So
they're a bit quick, aren't they, on the jokes, aren't they?
Yeah. So your filter socks, Jay. You've got filter socks. How do you wash those?
In RO water. Rinse them off in RO water. In fact, I've just rinsed one off today.
I stick mine in the washing machine for 3 hours on a really hot wash.
Serious? What a normal domestic...
I don't put any detergent in.
I'm going to say.
So I put there's a 2-hour wash on the baby wash, which goes really high, 90 degrees, I think it is, and then I just stick it on for another hour. And touch wood, I've been doing that for years, and it's been fine. And
all your clothes stink of fish.
Well, I tell you what. If I as soon as it finishes, if I don't open the door,
God,
then actually it does. I've learned my lesson from getting a good kick in for the washing machine
in a nice shirt,
fish, which is not. So there is a downside if you forget it. Right? So you have a fishy washing machine, not recommended.
Oh no!
It's all right if you remember.
If I had an old one in the garage, I'd probably do that, but not in the house. Well, my wife would kill me if I put the fish stuff in there.
Yeah, but if you remember and take it out, it's all right, Joe.
And also, microfiber yours for 40 quid.
I love these comments. I really, really do.
They're a witty bunch, aren't they? These lot on here. They are a funny bunch.
They're waiting for you to say, "I'll buy 10."
I think everybody, just thinks I'm stupid, but you know what? I really am.
That's brilliant.
40 quid, what a bargain.
So yeah, I think that's the update on your tank for this week then, Jay.
Well, I've got a new fish. Where is he? Oh, he's knocking about over in the corner at the moment.
Are you divulging that information on the live stream, or are we waiting until your video comes out?
I might do it. I'll do an exclusive. Yeah, I'll do an exclusive on the live. So the video will come at the weekend. So you get to see all the glitz and the glamour at the weekend. So I purchased from Ness's Lair a flame scooter blenny, also known as a ruby dragonette. But I don't know why they've got different names. Same fish, different names. Apparently TMC called it a flame scooter blenny. Maybe just make more money. Apparently that was the thing. So he's been in there since Thursday evening. He had a bit of a rough 24 hours with the clowns, because for some reason he wanted to be where the clowns are. I don't know why he picked that corner, like this corner over here. And they really didn't want him there. So there was like a bit of jostling and fin shaking and the sand kicking up and stuff like that. And they were kind of just like darting at him. And he had a bit of a stressful time, to be honest. And this is the thing, right? They say, and I made this mistake, so I listened to everybody, put your clowns in first, right? If I was doing it again, I wouldn't put clowns in first. No chance. I know they're like a hardy fish and they can basically live in a blooming sewage water. But I wouldn't put clowns in first, because they've been bossed. They boss the other fish around. Yeah. But when you first put them in, and I was nearly at the stage of getting a box for the flame scooter blenny to settle him down. But today, he's figured out that he's not going in that corner because he's not allowed. So now he's around. So
he's worked it out. Great.
Yeah, he's figured out if I stay around this side, life's good. So he's round there now. So I'll try and get a little shot of him.
While you're doing that, Jay, I must admit, I don't think I'd buy clownfish again.
Well, you know what?
For 7 years, I think they're a bit of a pain. They always try and bite your hands. They're territorial. I mean, they are hardy fish, which is a great advantage. But I must admit, I've gone off of clowns a bit.
I don't know if you can see him.
Where is he, Jay?
I can see the clowns, but I can't see.
He's in. I might have to get a reflection job here. Wait up. So he's in there. Can you see him there? He's there, look. He's there.
Where though, Jay?
In the reflection.
On the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, he's on the rock, just sat there.
I can just see.
You can see him. A red on the rock. Yeah. Right to the very left of the tank.
He's super bright, colourful. Yeah, he's an amazing little fish. And to be honest, I mean, I've only had him a couple of days, but I'm more happy to have him in the tank than the clowns, to be fair.
Ooh,
but
bold
no, absolutely. Yeah. Well, he's interesting. I mean, the clowns are good, but they just didn't host the anemone, which I was a bit gutted about, really.
What I really liked about it
the anemone didn't host
the way that they dart about the tank. Like they'll go to one bit and then all of a sudden jump to the next bit and dart to the next bit about, and they're quite active in the way they go.
Yeah. So you can see him, can't you? Just over it, wherever he's here. There.
Yeah.
He's had
a great comment by Black Pearl Reef.
What's he put?
Looks like cyano.
Get out of this! There's no cyano there anymore.
That's the best comment of the night. Jay's absolutely in love with cyano.
There's no cyano. The cyano's gone.
He feeds it.
Jay, what's his name?
Now my wife's named him Larry, but I don't know if he's going to stay with that name. I don't know why he's called him Larry. Yeah, but
do you dare change the name though, Jay? Because Larry sounds fine.
Well, Larry, I think it is Larry, to be honest. He's happy as Larry anyway, if that makes sense.
Jay, there's a comment here asking how you managed to bleach out your tail spot blenny.
there's a world first for everything. It's under whites. Everything's white at the moment. That's why it looks bleached. Not if I put the blues on, it'll look super bright.
It'll look blue.
It will look blue and bright. How have you managed to bleach the blem?
Designer fish.
Very good, yeah. So yeah, there's a video coming at the weekend. If you can watch it, I'd love you to watch it. If you can comment, I'd love you to comment. But yeah, it's all about the delivery of that and then the first days in there.
So that your last fish, Jay. So now you're fully stocked.
Well, I believe 4 to 5 in a 20-litre nano, but then I've still got hiding places. So then that other argument of, well, if you've got places where they can hide and they're safe, then you could probably have more. Do you know what? I'd love, and I don't know if Colin is here tonight. I don't know if I haven't seen Colin.
No, Colin's in Ireland on holiday just now, mate. He's away.
I'd love the flame scooter blade to have a girlfriend. So then he certainly gets his fin out a bit more. So I don't know if I'm getting a bit too many fish then in there. So that might have to wait till the upgrade and then get the female. It should be a lot younger. She'd be a lot younger, wouldn't she? So you might be. Yeah. She might be a year younger than him. So yeah, it's a fascinating fish, and I'm so glad I chose it just for the colour and the interest that it had. And I've seen him pecking as well at stuff, so I know he's eating.
Yeah. Have you been using those first bite? Is it first bite?
Yeah, first bite copepods, and I've been using he's on lobster eggs. So I hope they don't bloody hatch in there. Otherwise, They've got hell on. Come down one more. There'll be big lobsters in there. So yeah, he's eating lobster eggs, and I went to get some live food this evening, and I got some live brine. So I put those in, and he really liked that. It's a bit of a Friday night treat. 4 max in that tank. It's a bit late now.
See, there's always been a couple of kind of opinions on that, and people have said you should only have 4 fish or so on, but it depends what fish, what size of fish, and so on. It's one of those,
Yeah.
It just depends on what type of fish I think you've got, and obviously you can overstock it quite easily, but I think if it's smaller fish...
Nitrates aren't high, so I haven't got a high, it's not causing huge nitrate spikes.
No.
And there is still lots of places for them to have their own space and hide.
I think that's the key, isn't it? Because you've seen where it's encroached on the clowns, and they're not be happy bunnies. If you've got fish that are wandering around into one another's territory, and if you had any other fish that are territorial other than the clownfish, you've probably got a problem because there's not much they can mark on their territory. So what's that, Jay?
That's the suntail goby. He's not out very often, but I don't know if you can see him. He's gone in now. He's a bit shy. He lives under that rock basically, but yeah, he's a bit shy.
I think you had a video of him with the pistol shrimp as well, did you not, Jay?
Yeah, that is super cool. That is. I know Reef Dog on his video today, it was about inverts. And you know what? I really agree with him. Like, inverts had so much interest to your tank, like the crabs and the shrimps and all that sort of stuff. What was he saying? A couple of tanks. Was it him that said that to me today? Someone else said, put a tang in. And I said, my body will be like dragged through the streets if I did that. Oh my God. There's no way I'd get a tang. No way.
Black Pearl Reef reckons it's a red Sharpie lid that you've got in there. It's not a flame scooter penny.
And you just move it around the tank on strings and you can see it moving.
I hope he's not listening because he's going to be deeply offended. He's a beautiful fish, and to be called a Sharpie lid, he'd be upset by that, I'm sure. He's super, super pretty. It was either going to be one of those or a Royal Grammar, because I wanted colour from this last one. As people have said, I bleached my other fish out, so I wanted the colourful one.
I don't think you bleach a Royal Grammar. You might do.
Well,
I doubt it.
Yeah.
It's the personality on those little scooter bladers I think is brilliant. The way you see them darting around, they're fantastic to watch.
They don't look like fish, do they? Really? They look like little lizards.
Yeah. When you talk about cleanup rough, I don't think you can go wrong with a conch. I think they're great for cleaning the sand, and also they're fantastic to look. They look like aliens when they come out and they actually climb up. The glass.
Yeah.
Look at Larry the Sharpie.
The conch, I wouldn't be without a conch. I'm honest, I would not be without one. They do so much good work on the sandbed. And
they're great to watch as well, though. That's the thing, isn't it? And
yeah,
when people come around, they look at them, they can't believe that the kind of characteristics and how alien they look when they've got their eyes out and they're moving around.
You do look like aliens.
Have you got a red Sharpie? Because then you could compete with Jay.
I don't know if I have got a red Sharpie, mate.
Oh.
I don't think I do.
I'll show you it's not a Sharpie on my video. Make sure you watch it. And the adverts, please.
What, the whole advert? But you want people to click on the adverts, don't you? Like,
yeah, click on it. Go watch the whole adverts and click on the advert for me, please.
Well, and purchase a shed for only £600 as well.
I get about 2p.
It's funny because people think you make a lot of money off YouTube, but it's next to nothing.
It's not glamorous life. No. I'll be honest. I've earned £80 in 4 months, 5 months. So to be fair, that has bought Larry.
And a few Sharpies.
So thank you to everybody who's watched because you've bought my fish. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, but it's not a lot of money for how much time you put in. You put hours in making. Yeah. I know it doesn't look like it, but they do take time.
Mind you, it's good having a journal, though, isn't it, Jay? We were talking about this the other day that when you make the videos and everything else, you can look back on that because I've got when I first set up the tank, so that was like 6 years ago, was my first video on YouTube, and it was just a point and click and shoot and everything. I just uploaded it for the sake of it. So it's nice to see how your tank starts out and how it evolves over the years.
Yeah, well, we had this conversation. I don't know why everybody who's got a tank doesn't do the same. Because the only reason I set it up was not to. I don't want to. I'm not educating anybody really. I'm just doing a little bit of a journey, as it were. But I just wanted to be able to look back in 20 years and watch the time when I had a little reef tank and see it through the different ages whilst I'm sat there with my grandchildren and go, look at that. Because it's never going to be lost. It's a memory that's always going to be there. And if you just put videos on YouTube and do it. Yeah. You don't have to. If you don't like speaking, don't speak. But that's the only reason why I did it. I wanted a record of every step, so I've not managed to miss a single thing with the reef. Like everything I've documented, all the ups, all the downs, and I've got a full journal, like video journal, so I can watch when I'm, watch back when I'm a bit older.
Yeah, there's quite a few people said to me that they would love to do YouTube videos and so on, and that they're not confident enough. But you could be honest with you, I was the least confident person in front of the camera. See, when I filmed my first video, my first ever video I done, I must have done about 10 takes of it, and I hated every one of them. And got to the stage where I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to put it up. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Put it up, and from then on, you just keep going, and you go, do you know what? If folk don't like it, they don't like it. It's a document for me to look back on.
Yeah.
If people want to watch it, great. If they don't, that's what it is. It's one of those things. So I would highly recommend to anybody that's even considering it, just go and make a video, put it up on YouTube. Just do it. It's not. You're not going to get anything.
There's two stages, though, isn't there? There's one being behind the camera, because I didn't go in front of the camera for a while. I got a face for radio, but it takes a while. Then you get the confidence, and then you go in front of it, and now you don't really care.
Yeah.
You're just kind of totally blind to it. But it is a bit. I find it a big jump from talking from behind the camera to being in front of it, for sure. And then you just get used to it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, getting used to it.
Yeah, definitely do it.
That's
do
one of those things
do it for selfish reasons. Do it for selfish reasons that you've got a record that you can always watch.
As we said last week, the worst they can do is do a thumbs down, and that's a thumbs up from the algorithm if they give you a thumbs down. So that's really good. If they have a comment slagging you off, great. A comment helps the algorithm as well. So, bad feedback is good as well.
Yeah,
I think as long as you can take criticism and don't take it personally, then great. I mean, that's social media in general, isn't it? Without starting a whole debate about that, as long as you can kind of take that, then you'll be fine. Just go ahead and make a video.
There's some sharp tongues out there, I tell you. You've got to just laugh it off, really. Otherwise, you go nuts. Some people.
And I think it's one of those things that
too far, don't they?
We've probably experienced it more than others because we do the live stream as well. So you get some really, really good comments in here, and I know Jay gets a lot of banter thrown at him, but I think that's what makes it really good.
I do like.
You mean Jay getting ripped and we get off? I think that's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, the amount of folk that slag Jay for having a small tank, but it's twice the size of mine, and I don't get any stick for it, so it's brilliant.
How do you get away with it? I don't know how you get away with that. Anyway, laughter's the best medicine, so that's all we need to do.
I think there's a good comment on there from Scott Morrison. He talks about, but if you had 5 million subs, would it be worth it? Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And also there's quite a few. If you look at some of the YouTubers that do finance channels and other stuff like that, they get more money from outside of YouTube than they get from YouTube, because what seems to happen is sponsorship and other things like that, and they get other kind of income streams from it. They start off on YouTube, and that seems to get them noticed, and on the back of that they do other stuff that then pulls in the money. And if you was going to do YouTube, professional finance is one of the best ones to do, because the ad revenue you get on that is higher definitely than what we do here. Not that we do it for money, but if you're doing it full time, finance is a great one to be in. If you can make it there, you get some decent money.
I mean, Ross is mopping up on sponsorships, and I only want one sponsor, and they're not interested. Yorkshire Tea, come on, sponsor my channel, please. I beg you.
You're going to get a shock one day when the Yorkshire Tea lorry pulls up outside the house and goes, Real Reef.
Yeah, and you can have tea for life as long as you have a cup of tea every time you talk about the reef. I love that.
Yeah.
It's the only sponsor I want. Yorkshire Tea. Yorkshire Tea.
You never know, mate. You just need to keep at it.
Well, you've got loads. You could give me one of yours.
I don't have loads.
You've got loads. You're on to 3, aren't you? 2 or 3 now.
Just the 2, mate. Just my 2 locals.
Oh well, that's it. I respect that local business.
Yeah, I think that's good about things that you use anyway. So in which case, then it doesn't feel or look false, because there's some that you see and you think, really, are you chasing it down? Could you really recommend and stand there? And actually, some people, have you actually used that before? Because there's a couple that I've seen on Instagram, and I'm not sure they've ever been inside the LFS.
No.
Yeah, they get things sent through the post. So how can you recommend and stand behind that? I'm not.
There's a lot of people that you see that their tank runs fine, then all of a sudden there's a big switch to a different brand, and they're the best brand ever, and it's the best thing ever, and so on. And you think to yourself, you need to be a bit more transparent than that. We can tell that there's something going on here, but yeah.
The thing is with me, people spend a lot of money on this, and it takes a while to earn good money, and don't give people false information. If you genuinely think it's good, then tell people, but if you don't, then don't be false, because you're talking about people's money here. It's not right, genuinely. Anyway, that's cheered everyone up.
Right, moving on. There's a good comment from Woody's Reef around the amount of fish, because there used to be a rule of thumb around.
Rule of thumb, what is the rule?
It was around the number of fish you have, depending on the size of your tank and the length of the fish, or the size of the fish. But he's right around filtration. I think you'd have a bigger issue around conflict in your tank, Jay, if you had more fish as opposed to the filtration. Because we said a number of times before around filtration, and it's so good. And talking about Dino's earlier on, weren't we?
Yeah.
How you tank's too clean. There is so much good stuff out there that can keep a tank spotless.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good comment, because it used to be pretty much how much. A bit like rock, wasn't it? It was around, you need X amount of pounds or kilograms of rock per volume of water, but you don't hear that at all. And also about flow, about having turnover in your return pumps of times 10. That used to be a rule of thumb as well around that, but now you don't see that hardly at all. In fact, a lot of people run their return pumps really low and turn over about 2 or 3 times, because now you've got really powerful power heads and other things come into it as well. So there's a lot of things changed.
Like you say, the exporting, the stuff that exports all the nutrients now is so efficient. So you've got to be careful, haven't you? Yeah. And that's the issue we're faced with today.
Yeah, and over the next few years, if I think about how far the hobby's come in the last 3-5 years, you go back 3 or 4 years, there wasn't anything about alkalinity checkers or anything. That was a pipe dream, and people used to see demos of that at reef shows. Now there's loads of them, isn't there? And you just wonder what's going to happen in the next 5 years about new stuff that will come in.
Yeah, you think it's making the hobby easier? Because obviously I've come in as a beginner, and I've done hours and hours and hours of reading, but I think if I had tried to do it 10 years ago, I think I'd have really struggled more than I have done now. I think there's a lot of good, like the light. I plugged it in, went on a template, and it's working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easier for people to get into the hobby now, which is a good thing, because it means that it more people in the hobby, which is great.
Yeah.
But is it getting easier? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if easier is the right word. It's probably getting more convenient. I don't know. I don't think it's easier with that.
No, it's not easy. No, it's nowhere easy.
There's more information out there. There's more knowledge, and the
yeah.
technology's better. I think it's how do you bring all that together to understand what you've got to do, and then fundamentally you got to mix all that together, look after water, and have patience. So if you haven't got the patience, it doesn't matter what technology you got or what advice, you're probably still going to have problems, because it does take a time of just let it crack on and do its own thing. So do you both of you, do you do as much to your tank now than you did in the early days, or are you more around, let's let it do its thing?
I'm trying to step away from it a bit more now compared to what it was, but because I'm having issues with cyano, green hair, and all that kind of stuff, I feel like I've probably been at it the past month or so more than what I was previously. But I was at a stage where literally between live stream, I wouldn't touch the tank. I would just leave it as it is. I would do my water change and that was it. Whereas now I find myself, every day I'm spending a bit of time looking at it, trying to siphon out stuff, try to blast the rocks cleaner. I'm at it a little bit more just now because I'm having issues. But I think, given that I'm nowhere near what I was when I first started trying to set everything up. And I think, without going into the whole subject again, it's about doing your research first, because when I done all my research at the start, I had myself convinced that this was the most difficult thing in the world to do. And then you start watching more and more videos, and it was the videos that really helped me, actually, of saying, well, actually, okay, it's not going to be easy, but these guys have showed that it's possible to do, and you don't need to be a scientist to do it, so I'm going to give it a go. And I think just having that confidence to start it was the best thing. But now, I don't think I'd touch it near what I did at the start, but I'm definitely more than I have been recently.
That's because you've got issues, and you find the amount of time you spend on a tank with these issues, it just multiplies, and it can just take over your evenings and your whole week with what you've got to do, and then it gets really frustrating. So you can see why people leave, because they're on it, maybe changing too much, which causes other problems, and they just think, I've had enough of this, I just can't be doing this, it takes up too much time.
I had issues from 0 to 11 months. It's only in the last few weeks where everything is just settled now, and I'm hoping that that's now getting a bit of stability and things like that. But the first 11 months I was dealing with lots of little things. But if you're meticulous in terms of looking at your reef and measuring things, you pick up early on before it becomes a major. I've had problems, but I've not had major problems because I picked it up early. I think that's it. If you haven't got the time, then don't get into the hobby, as it were, because you do need to be meticulous with your routines and your maintenance. To make sure that it stays stable, don't you?
One thing I will say, going back to my kind of point there, was I've had a few messages from people who, I'm not going to name names and I'm not going to name stores or so on, but a few messages from people recently. But a few people recently have got in touch with me saying that they've just got their very first tank, they love it, blah blah blah. They've had it set up for 2 days. They've got clownfish, they've got coral, they've got this and that, because their LFS are selling them a tank, live rock, water, turbo start, 2 clownfish and some corals, sand, and saying, there you go, that's everything, on you go. And I think LFSs, well, a couple of them that have been named, seem to be too keen to push all the stuff on people. And I don't know whether it's them knowing that it's going to fail and they'll either come back and buy more livestock or get sold. I don't know what the script is with that, but there's no way those LFSs are believing that's the right information to give out. Can't be. But that's been at least 3 in the past week that I've spoke to and said they were sold their tank, water, live rock, sand, 2 clownfish and some corals all at the same time. And
that's just somebody who doesn't actually respect the livestock, because you're just sending it to a stressful environment, basically, aren't you? And it's not fair.
Yeah, especially if you've got to set all that up. Let's face it, if you haven't had a tank before and you've got to set up all the kit and do everything, that takes time, doesn't it? To level off your tank and everything else. Quite often that's the day, and then you've got to do your rock work and everything else. And then you've got the pressure because you've got a pair of clowns sitting there and you don't know what to do with them. So they'll sit in the bag, I'm assuming, because you've bought the water and they're in containers, because you probably haven't done I don't know how many newbies, people new into the hobby, buy an RO unit at the same time. I don't know. Probably not in a nano, a bigger tank. You probably.
I've still not bought one.
Yeah, but you use the beep water.
Hey, I know a few other people that use it as well, and I think
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. We're just not allowed to say the word on live stream
No.
because it
it's
causes a
like
debate.
a swear
So
word, but I think I don't know. I know a couple of tanks that run it.
Yeah.
I can't say it's like code, isn't it? Otherwise, I just get bombarded with grief.
you know for a fact there'll be 500 comments all saying different things about it, so we just don't talk about it.
Well, no issue with I have no issue with that company.
There's a good comment in there from Johnny at the bottom around colony. So yeah, colony drives that because yes, you can use colony and then ghost feed, but most people buy colony and then put fish in at the same time. But there's nothing wrong with buying the tank, setting it all up, and then getting the colony and then the fish at the same time once you've got it running and you're happy with the temperature and everything else with that, and you've done leak tests and other things like that. Because quite often, if you've got a sump, you'll set up and use all the pipe work, and you know, getting that pipe work right so you don't get a leak is a pain in the what's it.
I just wouldn't rush it. I wouldn't rush it. Just take your time, enjoy it, enjoy every stage as you go along. And if it takes 8 weeks to cycle or whatever, then it takes 8 weeks.
Just going to say there, I think when it comes to me upgrading my tank, one of the most enjoyable things will be dragging that process out and making sure that it is completely perfect from the get-go. I kind of rushed this one setting up to, I didn't even have it. I don't know if you'll remember my videos, but when I set it up, it was a couple of months afterwards I had to actually drain some of the water out and re-level it because I didn't have it sitting level at the time. Now, that was purely just because I was too excited to get water in it, and I thought the stand was level. But then after a couple of months, it must have settled down a bit, and then it was sitting off level. So I then had to basically empty all the water out as much as I could, lift the tank out of the way, shim the unit up so that it was sitting perfect again. And it was just... Yeah. Whereas I think I would enjoy more, setting up a new tank. Well, this one was still running, but set up another tank and just taking my time with it, filling it up with water, leak testing it, like you say, make sure it's level over time. I think I will definitely take a lot of time on my next one.
Yeah, and actually cycling the tank, I think, is the easy part.
Yeah,
because it shouldn't be that difficult. If nothing else, you can throw a prawn in there, let it rot, and that will then drive the cycle on its own. It might take a little bit longer. It's where you put colony in, put the fish in, you put your lights on, and within a short period of time, bang, you've grown algae, and then you've got loads of algae, and then that's where the problems really starts, because you've got a completely sterile tank. So I think it's more around what you do after cycle than actually the cycling itself. But a lot of people talk about how long does it take to cycle and what's the easiest way, and that's not the issue. I don't think, anyway.
I'd agree with that comment from Johnny there, actually, that some of the best stuff he sees from new tanks, seeding the rock, pods, that's when you're watching life grow as such in that little tank. And I think that is, I mean, we all enjoy the tank once it's set up and running, but the evolution of it getting from an empty glass box to a reef as such is the bit that I really enjoy.
Yeah. The bit for me when I think about the first tanks, one, putting the first fish in and then buying the first coral. Now, you think the first coral I bought was Xenia. I was really excited.
Would you do that again? Would you do that again?
I've still got the same piece of Xenia, and I would always keep that piece of Xenia just because it was my very first coral. So I really think about that. And also I got the very first clown as well. So the first things I put into that tank 7 years ago, I'd hate to lose that Xenia. And the Xenia is on a piece of rock on its own, so it can't go all over the tank. But for me, that's more about the sentiment of when I set that up. I mean, would I buy Xenia? No, I wouldn't. In fact, I paid 15 quid for a piece of Xenia 7 years ago, and now I can get it for free. So, how you learn over the years on that. But, Mogsy, how are you, sir?
Mogsy.
Good evening, mate. Hope you're having a good night at work.
I know. He's here next week. He's here for the pre-cracking the live.
On his channel, aren't we?
Yeah, because you're not here, are you, Ross? You're in the hotel or something like that.
I don't know what I'm going to do next week because I'm going to be in Manchester, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, to be honest. Might try and join in from a hotel room or a pub or something. I don't know.
Join in from the hotel bar.
Yeah, that would be a bit awkward. Folk would be wondering what the hell is going on.
You have all these people video bombing you. It'd be like Jayad in his video. You have all these people video bombing you.
God, don't talk about the woman again. We've got over the woman. He's out in Ripley again tonight, probably. if you want, if you're interested, Paul.
I tell you, it'd be funny if you go back there to Signature Frags and you bump into her again.
I am going to go, but I'm not filming next time. I'm just going to go and have the full customer experience.
There you go. Steve's eating his salad.
Salad. Wow, what a good boy. He's slimming for Crackner.
It's a good point actually, because you said looking forward to it, guys. First time we'll actually meet. So the four of us have never ever met before in person.
No.
So I know you're missing out on it, Paul, but for the rest of us, we'll be able to meet for the first time. So it'll be.
You're going to be really surprised, Ross. I'm nearly 6'5".
No way. I'm actually only 3'4". I'm only 3'4", mate, but that's right around.
I wonder why they call you Little Ross.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Or is that something else? I don't know.
Don't know, mate. Don't know what you mean.
Oh dear. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to meet you guys. Apart from Paul's not coming, I'm a bit sad about that, but we'll meet you. We'll meet you soon, Paul.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to. I know I'm coming up to Scotland in November, so I'm going to meet up with Ross. Then I'm sure we can sort something out.
So there's a question here from Mark. How did y'all get together? So it was just a simple swipe right, I think it was, mate, and that was what done it for us.
Reefing Tinder.
So how was it? No, if I remember rightly, I reached out to Mogsy and had a chat and said it'd be good to get together with some other reefers, have a chat, blah blah blah. Especially those ones who make videos, because it's good to share ideas and stuff like that. And I think he reached out to two of you, because I don't think he knew you already on any of your channels. I can't remember.
Mogsy messaged me.
Yeah.
And said, "Do you want to be on this live stream?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't really know. Don't know if it's And then I thought, I'll give it a go. It's fine. Because as like I say, my YouTube was just supposed to be a story for myself, for my tank. It wasn't anything.
Yeah.
My YouTube's nothing serious. And so I said, I'll have a go. And then I know Ross, because I love watching Ross's channel in the early days. And so then I messaged Ross. Always enjoy watching our channel. So then I messaged Ross. So I thought he came across really well in his videos, and I was like, "You interested in doing this?" And then Ross was like, keen as mustard, I think, weren't you, Ross?
Yeah, and we said about 4 of us, didn't we? And also, you find a lot, YouTubing can be quiet. I mean, the hobby, you reach out to people and you ask for advice and people you trust. But YouTube, there's not that many people that talk to one another. Is it free? I think he was asking for a fee to begin with, if I remember rightly. Down to free and a couple of tea bags and a Sharpie.
That's it. Do it out of the goodness of our heart, this.
Yeah, and
the rest is history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're not as good with like that one. My favourite one. I think we should do a Christmas one where like flashback. But that one with the ironing board, where Steve was like absolutely leathered.
Yeah. We should actually
do on script, weren't he?
That was.
We should do a live stream where the 4 of us are drunk. I know, Paul, you don't really drink, do you? But it would be quite funny for us to
I can do, but I tend not to because of my blood sugars. But yeah, I could have a tipple.
A drunk night would be quite interesting.
Oh my god,
that would be interesting.
But yeah, I think it works really well, the 4 of us, to be fair. We're all different levels of knowledge and different personalities. I think it works well. So what was a couple of emails has turned out to be quite a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we talk quite a bit on WhatsApp, don't we? And help one another and have a Cobra meeting usually for Jay and stuff like that. But, it's quite funny, share what's going on Instagram and who likes who and stuff like that. So that's all quite funny and Switzerland and teaching and stuff like that.
And I learn new things every day.
Stop calling me Switzerland.
Switzerland's your new name, mate. That's it.
No, I'm not Switzerland.
No, Jay.
That's Jay's Real Reef, Switzerland.
He's very diplomatic and very neutral. Hence why Switzerland.
Swiss.
Nothing wrong with that, Jay. But it's a good crack. It's just so MB Reefing. Yes, when I go up to Scotland, hopefully I will be going to Nessie's lair when I'm up there.
Paul, we could gather some of the Scottish mafia and we'll meet you at Nessie's lair.
That could be good.
There's loads of them. Be careful.
Yeah, I'll be the only English person in town. Should I be worried?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. And it's in Fife. It's not a safe place, shall we say?
That's right. Well, we'll see. I'm from East London, but well, you know, I don't know how that.
What I really liked about Nest's layer, which I've never seen, is he's got the 3 tanks, and he's going to have an SPS one, he's going to have an LPS and a softies. I think that's a really nice idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? You don't normally see just SPS dominant, well, LPS and then softies all next to each other to show like the families in each tank.
The thing I liked is that it's 3 identical tanks as such. So you'll be able to see what you can do with the 3 different species as such.
I like what he's doing with that. That's good. Is he from the Switzerland flag? He has.
I've missed
Cheers,
this.
Mogsy. Thanks for that, mate. Thought we were getting on.
Yeah, the Switzerland. That's your new name, though, mate.
I hope he stays at work next week now.
See, I can't see that. All that shows up is CH. So.
Does it? No, that's it. I can see it, yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. It's nice to be nice, Mogsy. It's nice to be nice.
So there was actually, what was I going to show you earlier? We were talking about reef tanks and so on Instagram. There's a page that I found on Instagram now, Jay, you'll really, really like this one, I think. And it's a guy who is called Reef Class, but it's Reef_class. Go and have a look at that. And
let me have a look now.
So we have a look.
You'd be quite impressed because
Reef.
Oh my goodness! Look at that. That's incredible.
Look at that for a tank.
That.
So I don't know who it is. I've not spoke to them, but the tank looks...
Yeah.
Reef.
So that's the one with all the scollies at the front. It's in a
I'm not following this one. Let me follow it.
Just there's some amount of colour in that tank. I meant to bring it up earlier and forgot all about it and just remembered there just now.
Yeah, maybe mine do look
basically it's full of scollies and acans. I mean, there's some others as well, but there seems to be a lot of acans there. Scollies.
Yeah, I think
a lot of SPS at top.
Some Zoas, some torches, but
there's a lot of pound notes.
all...
I'm seeing a lot of pound notes there.
Yeah. It's just the colours I think are fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's one thing I've learned about when I look at the big tank I've got. I set it up wrong. I've got too many purple and blue corals, which means they don't pop enough. It's okay when you're under whites and that. So if I set up a tank, I think how you then mix the colours together can make such a big difference. And I certainly made a mistake on the bigger tank with the big colonies I've got and stuff like that. It just doesn't show up as well. It certainly wouldn't show up very well on Instagram. But just having that mix of different colours that contrast to one another, I think makes such a big difference. And that's what makes that look so good, because they just pop, don't they, next to one another.
Yeah.
He's got nice size substrate. I like his size of his substrate. That looks good. It's not going to blow around, is it?
Going to have a look at this one, First Class Aquarium. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, Ultimate Torch Collection.
No. To be fair, the guy does have some impressive torches.
First.
Yeah, I'll have a proper look at that later, but that was quite an impressive one, so yeah.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, I need to follow. I'm not following him either.
There's some incredible tanks in there.
He sells them. He sells them.
Looks like he does, because he's got loads of the same ones.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're amazing. But is this UK? This is not UK.
No, that's New York, Jay. That's the place that doesn't have a desert.
Yeah.
You're a geography teacher, mate. You should know this.
Yeah, not to be mistaken with Las Vegas.
I know my geography. I can spot that Swiss flag anywhere at the moment.
We'll see a Swiss flag in that room behind you soon, surely.
No, not at all.
I think that calls for a t-shirt, Ross. A Swiss kind of themed t-shirt.
Yep.
Definitely. Well, yeah, possibly.
Oh, I'll get one that combines like the British flag and the Swiss flag together with Jay's face in the middle. I think that'd be a top seller, that one.
Right, are we finished now? Because I've had enough hammer tonight. I need to go see a psychologist again.
You must be maxed out on that.
You're going to sell on your fire shrimp, because your fire shrimp is that still down? Your fire shrimp?
The fire shrimp is still on his own. Because I bought them as a pair, and I've heard that if you buy them separate and different tanks, different times, that they don't get on. So I absolutely love him though. He's like a mini lobster, like the colours and things. A really great little invert.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
They're not cheap. They're like 30 odd quid now. They're really expensive.
One thing I'll say is I've got I did have a little peppermint shrimp. It's now a big peppermint shrimp in my tank. and it's actually quite a character to watch. It's quite cool to see it sits kind of the same place in the tank and comes out so much now. And I mean, it had some aptasia on the little coral that I got, and it ate that no problem. But now, whenever I feed the fish any, mysis or anything, it comes straight out and grabs the mysis at the water column and eats that.
Yeah,
it's actually quite cool to watch it.
Absolutely. I've got to say, I wouldn't have a tank without a peppermint shrimp in, because then if you do bring in aptasia, it'll be all over it. Because as we said before, once the aptasia gets too big, they won't even touch it, and then you've got a problem. So just by having it in there, it's a bit like having bumblebee snails for vermitive snail and stuff like that, where you put those in the tank and they will help with pest control. Doesn't substitute for doing dipping and things like that, but it certainly I think helps, as long as you don't mistake it and get a camel one instead, because a camel shrimp eats zoas, but they look very similar to peppermint shrimps. You see people say peppermint shrimps, they eat zoas, but if you was to Google camel, it looks exactly the same as peppermint shrimp.
I think the peppermint shrimp's got more blue on its back. Is that right? It's got kind of more tinge of blue right on its spine or something. Is that the way you tell?
On Google, the camel one, and they look very similar. I couldn't tell the difference. Again, it's kind of buying from a trusted source, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, they are good.
They are good. What about your other shrimp that you've got? I mean, you've got like a harlequin shrimp. How's that getting on?
I got a Pedersen shrimp. That was the one.
What shrimp?
Pedersen.
Oh, I thought you had like one of them sexy shrimps or whatever they are.
I've got two sexy shrimps. Yeah, I've got two of them. They, believe it or not, seem to just sit on the stem of my torch all the time. So where my torch sits at the top of the tank, they just hang about the stem of that and sit there quite a thing. I've never ever fed them anything, mate. So I'm assuming they just pick up stuff from around the tank. I don't specifically target feed them.
Detritus and other stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is good is a cleaner shrimp. If you've got tangs, cleaner shrimp are excellent, because you'll find that the tangs will then go and park, and the cleaner shrimp will clean the tang, and off they go again. It's almost like a cleaning station. It's brilliant.
Well, that Pedersen shrimp I had actually, it's called a Caribbean cleaner shrimp. It was really, really cool colours, and whenever any of the fish came near, it would jump out and it would wave its tentacle. I'd try to get it to actually come in, like you say, to try and clean it. But if you put your hand in the tank at all, it would come straight up and then go on your hand and sit and basically try and get everything off your hand that was there. So it was a great little addition, but it disappeared overnight and I've no idea where it went to. I never ever seen it again. So that's been months now since that went, but I don't know where it went. It must have died somehow, but the peppermint's still there and going strong.
How long do the inverts live for? Obviously I know they're different, but what is it, a couple of years or?
Don't know, mate.
Inverts, I don't know.
I don't know. I think if you can get out of a shrimp 2 or 3 years, I think you've done quite well.
I was guessing about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I had a fire shrimp for 5 years. It was the longest I've had a shrimp in total. And that was again in the first tank, so that's why I know it was 5 years from when I got it. But they don't tend to last that long, I suppose, compared to others. A bit like seahorses. Seahorses don't seem to last more than a couple of years in tanks.
I think someone's supposed to put crab there. Don't be getting that out. It's Halloween in a month's time, but you don't want to be getting that out just yet.
Nope.
Halloween crab.
That's a seasonal type.
Mine's up in the loft still. I get it out later. All the decorations.
So would you dress up then, Jay? Are you at Halloween?
What do I don't really dress up. I don't dress up. But I did do a Halloween special on my tank last year, and it had like all the UV on it, like UV stickers, ghosts and stuff like that. But yeah.
So I'm going to throw this one out there, and this is God's honest truth, that my best mate, we went to a Halloween party a few years ago with the racing crowd, which obviously is quite a rowdy bunch to be honest. So went to a Halloween party with them. And my mate dressed up as Jimmy Savile, and his missus dressed up as a schoolgirl.
Oh my goodness!
That was an interesting one. That Halloween, anyway.
That's very brave. Very brave. That is.
It was well received with the group that was there. It was really funny. But I think if you went to the wrong Halloween party as Jimmy Savile and a schoolgirl, that could have been quite bad. But yeah, that's probably the best / most risky one I've seen.
With the woke brigade, you probably wouldn't fare too well, I would say.
Probably not.
Oh dear.
So yeah, I
If you,
think
haven't
that's
give,
us.
if you haven't give Ross a thumbs up, you've done an amazing job tonight, mate. Honestly, hosting.
Yeah, yeah, well done.
Please just give him a thumbs up. It really helps as well on the channel. And
Thank you very much, mate.
No, we appreciate it if you can. Who's
So-
that? Love the last 20 minutes. Definitely missed the live stream.
So does that mean you didn't enjoy the first hour and 40 minutes?
First hour.
Someone's watching that thinking, oh, great, I've just joined. The rest of it was crap.
I know.
Well, I've enjoyed it anyway.
Oh,
definitely.
we've got last orders at the bar.
Julie,
That's Mother Reef has spoken again.
He has.
You're too kind. Thank you very much.
So yeah, that's been that was another quick one tonight. Actually, it went really quick for me. So thank you very much to everybody who's joined in the chat again, and thank you to you guys for hosting this with me. It's been another really good one. I enjoyed it. So looking forward to. I was going to say looking forward to next week, but I don't even know if I'm going to be able to join next week or not. So we'll wait and see. But
Pre-Crackner special.
Yeah, pre-Crackner special. Steve will be hosting next week. If any of you guys are going to Crackner, myself, Jay, and Mogsy will be there. So come along, say hello. Just remember that we don't know what you guys look like, but you know what we look like, so that could be interesting.
That's a bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah. Especially when somebody introduced themselves Black Pearl Reef 3 different times. That's going to be awkward.
Yeah, because we don't know, do we?
No.
Oh, look, you've got a super chat.
Oh.
Wow, look at that. That's the first ever super chat on
that is the first one. Thank you very much, mate.
Well done.
Jambo, thank you.
What a guy.
Super chats. That's great.
It's something that I didn't even think about, to be honest, mate. So it wasn't really anything I noticed. What a guy, though.
I know.
We have talked about this, haven't we? Talked about a charity or something, didn't we?
Yeah, so we did speak about this and decided basically that I think if we go down a route of receiving super chats, that we probably will give them to a charity. Not quite decided what charity or how we're going to do that yet, but whether we save them up over a year or whatever, we'll probably do it that way, I think.
Some sort of conservation type charity or something, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go with it. It would be unfair, I think, for us to take the money, so we'll probably put it to.
Probably need to think about it, don't we? Because at the moment you would be the only one that's monetized. Himself and Steve hasn't, but doesn't mean we shouldn't do something around that. Because I think it'd be good to give it back. I mean, obviously YouTube take a cut of that, so I don't know how much they take a cut of, but it'd still be good to then get a kitty going on that as we go over the next year or so.
Yeah.
Jambo, that's ace, mate. Thank you so much.
Appreciate thank you. That's brilliant.
Thank you very much, mate.
Being nice.
Cool.
Brilliant. So yeah, that's a
lovely note.
That was a brilliant way to end the night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. So as we're saying, that's great. Next week we'll be on Steve's channel on Friday night, and we will be at Cracknut on this Sunday. So if I don't see you next weekend or Friday night, I'll see whoever's at Cracknut on the Sunday.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, everybody. It's great to see you all. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Have a good weekend.
Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.